Hey guys.
Hello.
My name is Britt. I'm the founder of Home Ec. I'm so excited you all are joining us tonight for a fun evening of cooking with Cakebread Cellars and Chef Brian. I'll be in the chat throughout class answering any questions you might have, and I'll be inputting the recipe ingredients, the quantities in there so you have a quick reference of what you're supposed to be doing in your home kitchen. Feel free to keep your camera on throughout class so that Chef Brian can see you. And since we are a small, intimate group tonight, feel free to come off of mute and ask any questions you might have to Chef Brian. And without further ado, I'll pass it off to Chef Brian.
So thank you, Britt. My name is Brian. I'm the executive chef at Cakebread Cellars. I've had the pleasure of being chef here for over 35 years. So I landed here when I was very young. Are you guys, so HP, I think you guys cooked with me last time or once before? Shake your heads. No? No, okay. But it looks like you're cooking. And Kristen, are you cooking with us? You're cooking, Allison's
Sure am.
cooking. Good. So this should be fun. And you've preheated your ovens?
Yes.
Your oven's on. You got most of your ingredients out. Good. So the whole idea is that we cook together. And if at any point you have questions, I know sometimes I just sort of assume that people know what I'm doing, but you got questions, by all means, go ahead and ask them. But what we're going to do is roast some chicken thighs, and this recipe I think lends itself well to the time frame that we have, and I can teach you a few things. But really, it's sort of inspired by one of my favorite dishes would be a roast chicken. So, and ideally prepared by my wife, person who means the most to me. So, taking some of the things from my wife's roast chicken that fits our time frame and teaching how to make a pan sauce. So, hopefully, you'll learn a few skills out of this. And does anybody, Allison's got her water, which it's good to stay hydrated, but it's the end of the day, I think. Most of you are on the East Coast. Does anybody have a glass of wine? All right, HB, you guys got wine. So cheers. Thank you for joining me. And I've got a little bit of a Cakebread Chardonnay Reserve, which I think will go beautifully with chicken. I also have our Pinot Noir, which that would go well as well. So cheers, and let's have fun cooking together. All right, so I've got my chicken thighs. Do you have yours? So go ahead and take them out of the packaging. And if you haven't, and I already did this with mine, but when you buy them, sometimes there might be a lot of fat hanging off of the thighs. And so I just trim mine up. So basically the fat just covers the thigh, no excess fat. And we're going to get rid of that. So go ahead and put that on your cutting board if you haven't done so already. You can see that I've got mine. I've trimmed them up, and then you're going to season them fairly liberally on both sides. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I'll do mine. I'm using kosher salt, just sort of in a professional kitchen, and that's what you find most often, and it's what I'm used to using. All right. Looks like HP. Looks like you guys did it already. So you're just watching me. So I'm assuming that I can heat up my skillet. So if you go ahead and turn on your skillet, if you can see my skillet, I'm sure that if we went in each one of our kitchens, everybody's going to have different equipment. What I have is a stainless steel pan. It's an all-clad pan. The bottom is aluminum, so it distributes heat really well. It holds heat really well. But then the stainless steel coating on the inside is really good for us making the pan sauce later. If you do this with a nonstick pan, our pan sauce isn't going to be as flavorful. So as much as there's instances where a nonstick pan is the pan that you want to use, in this instance, you want something that the food's going to stick to a little bit because that really helps build the flavor of our sauce. All right. So hopefully you guys have something similar. And you do want something that's sort of heavy as well.
We have a cast iron pan. Is that okay?
You have a cast iron pan. It wouldn't be my first choice, but it does, you will get nice color on everything. I have steel pans that I use as well. They don't show as well on the camera. I'll use those, but go ahead and use your cast iron. One of the things with cast iron is typically they tell you not to add any acid to them because it sort of it leaches out any coating that you may have on it where it becomes sort of a nonstick surface over time. Once you add wine to it or tomato sauce to it or lemon juice, that sort of pulls that coating off, and you're sort of starting that process all over again. I love my cast iron pans. Fried chicken, if you make fried chicken, I think you got to make it in a cast iron pan. But if that's what you got on the stove, go ahead and heat that up, and you can use that as well. Anybody else? Allison, you're trimming your thighs up. Yeah, any excess fat, get rid of it, and then season them pretty liberally on both sides. Okay. Kristen, you're dressed very nicely to cook. I'm sort of worried that you don't have an apron on, but you look good.
For this to work, so I stuck with it.
Okay. Half of
It'll be
cooking is
fun.
you got to look good doing it. So you got that going on.
I don't
The
have
other
my
thing
chef's
is,
coat.
okay. The other thing is you want to make sure that your skillet's nice and hot before you put anything in it. We're really trying to caramelize the food that we're cooking. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to my pan. I don't know, probably, well, it does translate well to the camera. You can see it sort of smoking like that. I am in the cellar, so I don't have a hood above me. I would encourage you probably in your house, you need to turn the hood on over your stove. And if I set the smoke alarm off on the winery, I'm in big trouble. I know at the end of the day for you guys, but our visitors are still here. And if the smoke alarm goes off, everybody has to evacuate. So, okay, so it should be sizzling, right? So if you put your chicken into your pan and it doesn't sizzle, your pan wasn't hot enough. All right. So you really want to make sure that the pan's nice and hot, and you want that to brown. Now, the other thing is, I see this a lot of times when we do cooking classes. We do a lot of cooking classes at the winery. You get impatient, and so you want to turn the pan off. You want to like move it right away. Give it a moment before you do anything, so that the chicken, the skin has an opportunity to stick to the pan, and start to brown before you try pulling it off. Okay. And usually you can tell if it's there. Okay, actually, I've got a very hot pan. I got even a little bit more color than I want. But initially it just sticks right to the pan. And then as it starts to brown, it releases. So I can tell that I've got more heat on one side than the other. And it's like that. And while we're doing that, our vegetables that are going to get roasted with it, our carrots and our fennel, I'm just going to get them out, get them handy so that we don't have too much downtime. I don't know if you guys are familiar with fennel. It actually grows in our garden this time of year. And it has sort of a licorice-like flavor, especially when it's raw. Shave it into salad. It's really good. Italians love it. And we're going to cook it so it's not as strong to people that don't like that sort of licorice flavor. But it's a really good vegetable, I think, this time of year. I'll show you how to cut it up. So we'll brown that. And you're going to brown it on both sides. Nobody set off their smoke alarm yet? Mark's getting worried. I have Mark as our IT guru here at the winery, and he's making sure that I don't do anything that's gonna burn the winery down. I have a fan blowing on me, so you can sort of see it whipping through my hair. Can you guys see that? No, can't really see that.
No.
It's because I don't have enough hair, I guess. All right. So then once the other side's brown, we'll take that out and set that off to the side. Now, there might be a little bit excess oil in the bottom there. I'm going to turn this off just for a minute while we prep out our vegetables, okay? So, are you guys at a point that you can work on vegetables as well? So, I've got...
We're ahead of the curve already.
What's that?
We're ahead of the curve already.
Great.
We've already done. We're retired. We have nothing else to do.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that we're all on the same page. So you can just sort of bear with me there, and you've got a glass of wine, so you can just enjoy the show. I have rainbow carrots. By all means, you don't have to have rainbow color carrots, but it's just a variety of colors. The fennel, if you're not familiar with fennel, it usually has the fronds on top. This part of the plant is sort of fibrous. And so if I wanted to make a stock, like a vegetable stock, I chop this up and throw that into the pot with the other vegetables for my vegetable stock, or it's going to get discarded. So that part gets cut off. Sometimes people will take the fronds and use it as a garnish. We actually could have garnished our finished dish with that. But as far as the fennel, it's a bulb, and there's a root to it. And so you want to cut it through the bulb, and that should expose the core there in the middle. Hopefully you can sort of see that. So I'm going to make a cut on either side of that bulb to discard it. I don't really want that. Another way of cooking fennel that a lot of people do is they'll grill it, they'll cut slices of it, and then in that instance, they might leave that in because it keeps all the little layers together. But in this instance, I'm going to discard that, okay? And then I'm just going to cut it into sort of 1-2 inch pieces that will cook sort of evenly with the carrots, okay? And mine has some dirt still on it. I should have washed this before I brought it in here. So, okay, we got that. We're going to throw fennel into here. Carrots, we're going to peel them. How are things on the East Coast? I think most of you are on the East Coast. So it feels like fall here. If you are in the Napa Valley, the vineyards are starting to go to sleep for the winter. The leaves are all turning yellow, and all the fruit's in. It's a pretty time of year to be in the Napa Valley. I don't know what it's how are things on the East Coast? Anybody?
Very nice.
Very nice. Nice time
No,
of
the
year.
leaves are all gone. There's no more leaves.
The leaves are all gone. Well, there's pluses. That means you don't have to rake them up, right?
Just finished.
Just finished.
Just finished.
I'm in North Carolina, and we've been getting 75-degree days.
Oh,
It's nuts.
beautiful.
Yeah. And we had snow last week. It's all over the place.
Wow.
All right. Okay, you guys feeling as well? We'll discard that.
Chef, I was mesmerized by your quick peeling action.
So I swear, I mean, when I went to cooking school, there was the long little peeler that I think we all probably have in our junk drawer at home. these are wonderful. And if you know how to use them, you can peel really fast with them. So like I have the old kind, which my wife uses, and then I use this, and this goes really, really fast. So
What
you
kind of
got
peeler is that?
what's that?
What kind of peeler is it?
I don't know the brand, but they're all sort of similar. And it's just they peel much faster than the sort of the old fashioned kind. I guess I'm old enough that yeah, I'm not young. If I guess if you're a young chef, this is all you ever knew, right? So, just trim off the ends, and then we're going to cut these. You're looking for pieces that are similar in size to the fennel so that they'll cook somewhat evenly. I'm going to show you a cut that you don't have to do it this way. And HB, if you guys cut it already and you cut it a certain way, you're going to be fine as long as your vegetables are similar. I'm going to cut this in what they call an oblique cut or a rolling cut. And what's good about it is it just sort of creates more surface area. So you turn it every time you make a cut. And so you just have a little bit more surface area. And when we're going to caramelize in the pan, that's a good thing. I'm going to turn my heat back on.
What heat should we turn the pan on to?
I'm sorry.
What heat should the pan be on?
We're going to go back up to high heat. So this is going to go in the oven, but I want to get the veggies just starting to caramelize and get that process going. So we've got heat here. Should be pretty warm already. All right, good start. Okay. So we're going to saute this just for a minute, then we're going to set our chicken back on top and set that into the oven. While we're doing that, we're going to multitask. So to go with our chicken and our roasted veggies, we're going to make some olive oil crushed potatoes. So I have some Yukon Gold potatoes. You may have something different if you have your groceries shipped to you. But a yellow potato, I think, works well for this. It's going to have a little bit more flavor than like a russet potato, like a baked potato. I'm just going to toss this a little bit, move that around. Once it starts to caramelize, we'll put the chicken back in. But you get to see my wonderful peeler again. So we're going to peel these and then put them in a pot with water. So.
Chef, and for the vegetables, you just use the residual oil from the chicken, no adding.
Yeah, so if the chicken gave off a lot of fat, I would probably discard some of it. I want just enough fat, whether it's the olive oil or the fat came off of the chicken, so that when my veggies go in, they coat the vegetables. Okay, it's like sautéing. You don't want it swimming in fat. We don't want our finished product to be all greasy. You want just enough that the vegetables will move around in the pan while they're roasting. Okay. Realize I just tossed that off the heat. Okay, so once you get a little bit of caramelization on the edges, which I think you can see pretty well, I'm going to go ahead and set my chicken on top of that. And this is the same thing like my wife, when she roasts a chicken at home, she puts veggies in the bottom of the roasting pan. And so as it's roasting, the vegetables get all nice and caramelized. Now, once the chicken goes in, oh, I forgot one other thing. The other thing she does, and honestly, I don't make a pan sauce out of it, but she throws whole cloves of garlic in. It's actually one of my favorite parts of her roast chicken is just to squeeze the garlic out of the clove. So go ahead and hopefully they're nice big cloves. Throw those in. And then we'll put that into our oven. And you have to pretend that I put it in the oven behind me. I have a tank of Sauvignon Blanc behind me. So it's not gonna, I have one already done for you, okay? So I'm gonna set this off to the side. Are you guys, are we sort of in the same place? Everybody's got their chicken seared, your veggies are nice and caramelized, chicken's on top of it, and in the oven. I see backs, that means we're hard at work. HB, how are you guys doing? Thumbs up. Chicken in the oven?
Chicken's in the oven.
All right, so about a half an hour from now, you might give the pan a shake about halfway in just to make sure that, you know, things are moving around and they're not caramelizing too much or getting too dark on one side. And you got a few cloves of garlic in there?
Yes.
Kristen, are you trying to talk to me or somebody else?
Yes. My children.
Your children? Okay.
Yes.
If you want to yell at them
sorry.
off camera, that's fine. But
Thank you.
how old are they?
5 and 2.
Oh, wow. Well, you're good at your mom, you're good at multitasking.
I'm trying.
Okay. Well, okay. So then we're gonna finish up peeling your potatoes. And once you do so, it depends on the size of your potatoes. So mine are, they're like medium size. These aren't as large as a Yukon will get, but they'd say Bs. I'm going to cut these into quarters. If you have small ones, hello, young man. We have a new attendee. So he's going to crawl right into the screen there. I'm going to cut mine into quarters so that they'll cook evenly and they'll cook a little bit faster. If you have small ones, you might not even need to cut them. I don't know the size that you have, but try to cut them so that they're even, so that they will cook somewhat quickly. All right, get rid of that. And then throw in a healthy pinch of salt. If you forget to season your potatoes when you're making mashed potatoes or anything, it doesn't matter how much salt you add later. You can't make up for it. So season it, and you can almost think you'd add about the same amount of salt that you would add if you were cooking pasta. Okay. We'll let that come to a boil, and that should take 15, 20 minutes or so. So all potatoes are done. You guys got your potatoes on? Maybe? That come to a boil? Kristen's got help now. That'll make her go faster, maybe. Okay.
We have help too. More wine.
And you have more wine. Good. Keep your glass full. So just to talk a little bit about the potatoes. So I mentioned mashed potatoes, but I don't want you to think of this particular recipe like mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes, especially around the holidays. There'll probably be mashed potatoes on the table for Thanksgiving. These are very rustic. And I like mashed potatoes that are super silky and smooth and sort of sexy. These are rustic and they've got texture to them. So we're going to cook these potatoes just till they're tender. Like you can tell they're done when the tip of a knife goes in easily. Drain them, and then we're just going to crush them. You know, if you've got a potato masher, go ahead and use that. Till they break down, but they still have sort of, some pieces in it. And then we'll season it up with some nice fruity extra virgin olive oil, which we have a little bit here at the winery, and a little bit of butter and salt and pepper. And that's it. It's just really straightforward, and our veggies and our chicken will be served over top of that. Okay. There's a mix of butter and olive oil in it. I tend to go heavier on the olive oil because I think it's a vehicle to sort of showcase the olive oil as opposed to the butter. But if you like butter, go ahead and throw as much as you want in. Okay. So while we're doing that, we've got our chicken in the oven. We got our potatoes on the stove. We're going to make sure that we've got everything that we need for when it comes out. So with the chicken, you got roasted garlic in there. Do you guys have, I know, HP, you guys have wine to drink. Do you guys have wine to cook with?
Yes.
You do have, shake your heads or no?
Yes.
Allison, do you have wine to cook with? You do. Kristen, wine to cook with? Good. If you didn't, we could just up the lemon juice a little bit. The wine acts as the acidity in the dish. And so when the chicken does come out of the pan, we'll deglaze the pan. And typically, obviously, here at the winery, I use wine, but you could use a little bit of lemon juice in its place. Okay, but you have wine, so we're not going to worry about that. I have some parsley that we're going to pick and we're going to chop. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Meyer lemons or not. Meyer lemons are common in California. They are more common in people's backyards than they are in the grocery store, although you do start to see them. They are just, I just pulled these off our tree, which is just on the other side of our courtyard here. It is almost Meyer lemon season. They look, actually on screen, they look a little greenish, right? So they're not quite ripe. I would probably let these go a little bit longer than what I have. They are a cross between a lemon and an orange. And so they're very aromatic. You can't smell them, but I can. They're very aromatic and they're not quite as acidic as the lemons that we buy in the grocery store, which that variety is a Eureka lemon, and they bred them so that they can handle storage for a long period of time, be shipped around the country. So those are good and we use those, but around the winery, we plant a lot of Meyer lemons. And we'll use them all winter long, but then we'll also juice them and we'll make some other things with them so that we can sort of preserve them and utilize them throughout the year. So we're using those. I am going to juice them and I'm also going to zest them. I'm going to chop some parsley and get those things out of the way. So if you guys haven't done that already, you want to join me there. I think I've got a couple people that joined, Tracy and Alexander. Thank you for joining us. Are you guys cooking with us?
Yes.
You are. Okay. I did start. Alexander, did you guys cook with us before?
Yeah, we did. And we've been here the whole time. We probably just filtered off your screen for a second.
Okay. So are you able to sort of be at the same place that we are?
We're up to date. We've been following.
You're up to date. Tracy, how about you guys? Are you playing catch up?
Yeah,
or?
we've been here the whole time.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a glass of wine as well. So I'm going to zest the lemons. So
I have a question. If we don't have minor lemons, is it okay?
yes, by all means, whatever was in your grocery store is going to be good. So these are Meyer lemons. I also I have only one of these trees. Can you see the size of this? So this is another lemon that we have, and it's actually mostly rind and pith. And I think it's called a Lisbon. Actually, the lemon tree's been here longer than I have. So I don't know the variety, but I believe it's called a Lisbon lemon. And those are actually ripe, whereas my Myers aren't. But if you went to the grocery store, you probably have Eurekas, and by all means use those. It's the Meyer lemons are more of a California thing. You may see them in a nice grocery store, but they don't last as long. So when they're
I
in
have a
season,
tree in my backyard.
you
I have a
do.
tree in my backyard, but it gets a lot of bugs. So I'm having a
Okay.
hard time. Every time I get the lemons on it, either the crows attack it or the bugs
Oh,
attack it.
okay. Are you on
We're in
the?
Florida.
You're
We're in
okay.
Florida.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got lots of citrus. And ours aren't quite ready. So I don't know what your trees look like if your growing season's like ours, but I probably need a couple more weeks. As it gets colder at night and the days are shorter, they'll start to they'll sweeten up, and you'll see, you can tell by the color of the lemon. So but yeah, Eurekas are what you have in the grocery store. Go ahead and use that. I am going to get the zest off of this. Does everybody have one of these tools?
Yes.
Yeah, so raspers, they're sort of standard, I think, for most people's kitchens now. So go ahead and get all the zest off of it. And all we want is the colored part. So you're not really, you don't, once you get the colored part off, you stop, because what's underneath is bitter, and the zest, or the outside part, is what is really aromatic. That's where the oils are, and that's what we want. So I just sort of keep as I'm doing that. And I don't know, the smell is wonderful while you're doing it. Okay, so we'll put that in a little container so we have it handy. Still waiting for my potatoes to boil. Oh, your potatoes are cooking faster than mine. Watch pot. Okay, and then just a little bit of juice. So get that. Actually, if you want to see, so I just, I don't know. You see the size of that lemon? It's huge. It's like a grapefruit. Actually, Tracy, this might look like one of your grapefruits in Florida. My grandmother, when I was a kid, lived in Florida. She had a grapefruit tree in her backyard, so it's half the size of it. So, all right, we'll set that off to the side. Get rid of that. That's some parsley. I'm using flat leaf parsley. I don't know if you have flat leaf or curly. I don't use curly too much. I tend to like this, and I didn't do this ahead of time. So usually you don't want the stems. So go ahead and pull your leaves off. And we need a little bit of parsley in with our mashed potato, or yeah, I said mashed potatoes. Crushed potatoes. I'm gonna lead you astray if I say mashed potatoes. And then also our pan sauce. So we'll need a little bit for both. Chop that. Everybody's at work. This is good.
Chef, once the water is boiling for the potatoes, should we be changing the temperature?
You can turn it down. You obviously don't want it to boil over. but you do want to keep it at a steady simmer. So yeah, once it comes to a boil, down to about medium, as long as it keeps the bubbles keep breaking the surface, you're good. Thank you, Britt. So that might be enough. So when you're chopping herbs, you know, something like cilantro and basil, which I call sort of soft herbs, and then like woody herbs are more like things like rosemary and maybe oregano. But soft herbs, the less you chop them, the fresher they're going to be, and the more vibrancy they sort of add to your finished dish. So ideally, your knives are sharp, and then you don't over chop them. Is sort of how I approach it. So I sort of gathered everything up into a nice little ball with my fingertips, and then I'm slicing through the herbs so that I don't have to chop them a lot. So I know sometimes we just think of parsley as something to add color, but in this instance, I think it adds a brightness to the dish. And the less I chop it, the fresher it's going to taste. Okay. If that's, let's have some butter. Keeping my cutting board nice and clean. I have some honey. So we actually have hives on some of our properties. And so this is a little wildflower honey. But whatever sort of honey you like, it doesn't have to be wildflower. But this is this comes from here in the Napa Valley, and it's what the bees are feeding on close to our vineyards. You don't use bees to pollinate vineyards. Not necessary. We got that. I'm going to cook with a little wine. So I don't know what wine you have to cook with, but probably not Cakebread. If you are, that's wonderful. I do at the winery. But what I do want to emphasize is cook with a wine that you wouldn't mind pouring yourself a glass of. So a lot of times it's the wine that was left over from the weekend or from when you had dinner the night before. But it should be something you wouldn't mind pouring yourself a glass of. If you wouldn't drink it, I don't know. I think it's not worth it putting it into a dish, because I think cooking is the sum of all its parts. And so anything that is not up to par just sort of, I think, subtracts from the finished dish. Okay, so you've got that. What else are we missing? Our chicken is cooking away. How long's it been? Is anybody? I'm not paying attention. I don't have a clock in front of me. So,
Chef, it's been 27 minutes. Excuse me, it's been 17 minutes.
Yes.
17 minutes. Okay. So what would probably be a good idea is just take a peek at it, and you don't have to turn anything over, but if you just shake the pan a little bit, the veggies should get sort of redistributed a little bit, and the chicken might settle down a little bit into it. But hopefully you put it in, and I think I said so, but you put it in with the skin side up, so it insulates a little bit so the chicken doesn't dry out, and then it'll brown even more in the oven. Okay, so we're a little over halfway into it, and we're waiting for our potatoes. Hopefully everybody's potatoes are simmering. And chicken stock. This is the other thing, and I might be the only one with homemade chicken stock, but if you like weekend projects, I encourage you to make your own chicken stock and then put it in small containers and freeze it. It will have a little bit more body to it than what we buy in the grocery store typically. And so this has a little bit of gelatin in it. These are just like at home. When I have a roast chicken, I throw the carcass in the freezer. When I have a few of them, take them out, put them in a pot, cover them with water, and simmer them for a while. So it's not that I'm really even going out and buying bones. It's more just utilizing what I have. And I think it contributes more flavor whether I'm making a soup or I'm making a pan sauce like I am today. So this might just have a little bit more body to it than what you may have gotten in the grocery store. Okay. And you can even see, like, when you make your own, it'll actually have a little bit of gelatin in it in the refrigerator when it gets cold. And it'll be a little bit jiggly. Okay. And I think we have just about everything we need. My potatoes, I don't think are done yet, but I will take a paring knife. And they're still resistant, so I'm going to continue cooking those. I don't know, how are your potatoes coming along? No,
They're about the
nobody's
same. They're about the same.
okay. Nobody's drained theirs off yet, so we're good there. And we're sort of in a little bit of a holding pattern because the chicken's not done, the potato's not done.
More wine.
This is a great time for you guys to ask any questions too. It's an opportunity for me to tell you a little bit about the winery and if has anybody been to Cakebread or to Napa Valley?
No.
Hands up. Tracy's been. Nobody?
I've been to your tastings.
And you did one of our tastings. I hope you had a wonderful time.
I did your tastings. I am a member and I've done the food pairing.
Oh, good. Good. You had a good time?
I had a lovely time. That's why I'm
Okay.
here tonight.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us. So we are located right in the middle of the Napa Valley. It's a wonderful place to visit for a vacation. The winery is started by Jack and Dolores Cakebread. We are a little over 50 years old. Jack and Dolores, originally from Oakland. This was their passion. They had great success, and it's a family business. So their sons, Bruce and Dennis, own the winery now. And we're located right between Oakville and Rutherford on Highway 29, which when you come to visit the Napa Valley, it's very easy to navigate. It's Silverado Trail and Highway 29. And there's a lot of different wineries from you choose from. Very honored that Tracy spent time with us and is a wine club member. We have a beautiful visitor center that we welcome people all year long. We have a variety of different experiences that you can do. I am particularly proud of one, Tracy, you did the wine and food experience. And that's really fun because it's a seated experience with a variety of wines and small bites. So it's sort of fun for you to see how wine and food interact together. We are very much about wine being enjoyed with food. They feel that that's the best way to enjoy it with your loved ones and people that you enjoy spending time with. And there's other tastings we do. We also do cooking classes at the winery. So this is an opportunity why we partnered with Britt and Home Ec to give you a little bit of a taste of what we do here at the winery. And doing a recipe together, the cooking classes we do at the winery are all hands-on. So we would give you a menu that basically becomes your lunch for the day, and break everybody up into teams. And then we all cook together, take a tour of the winery, do a wine and food reception, and then sit down and have a 3-course lunch. It's a very civilized way to spend an afternoon in the Napa Valley. And we have people that keep coming back time and time again because it's just a nice way to spend an afternoon in Napa, but also with us. And so this is the idea behind this, was to give you a little bit of a taste of some of the offerings that we have here at the winery. And I know my backdrop looks different than everybody else's. And if I didn't explain earlier, I am actually in the tank room. This is a room that is used for fermentations. So the 2 tanks behind me have Sauvignon Blanc in them from this year's harvest, and that will get bottled in the late winter, early spring. But that wine most of it is fermented in stainless steel tank because it's really bright and fresh and vibrant, and that's the reason why I use stainless steel. Chardonnay Reserve, which I poured myself a glass of. This wine is 100% fermented in barrels. And if you've been to a winery, you see wineries have lots of barrels. It's all French oak, and that gives another whole flavor component to this particular wine. So yes. And you guys have any questions about your dish or the Napa Valley or Cakebread Cellars? Kristen, your helper, must have lots of questions about the Napa Valley. I'm sure he.
Matthew wants to know what it looks like in Napa.
What it looks like in Napa. It's fall here, so we get rain. The thing that in California, if you're not from California, is we tend not to have any rain for months. Makes a great place to grow grapes because there's lots of sunshine. Our rainy season is in the wintertime. So November to early spring is when we get all of our precipitation. And we've had a few rainstorms. I think it's an El Nino year, they're saying. But today's sun's out. The vineyards, they haven't dropped all their leaves. Once we get some frost, all the leaves will get dropped. They'll fall, and then the vineyard crew can prune them. But this time of year, the leaves are sort of yellow. And if you see pictures of the Napa Valley and they've got bright red leaves, and it looks really beautiful, almost like being on the East Coast when it's fall and the foliage. I went to cooking school in Vermont, so people used to come up to Vermont just to look at the foliage. If you see vineyards where they got bright red leaves, it's actually a virus. So I'm happy to say it's not pretty, but we don't have any of those red leaves in our vineyard because they're not productive and they're not going to ripen grapes fully. But you sort of get yellows and oranges this time of year. And the light is really beautiful. I don't know, this is one of my favorite times of the year. The temperature is really nice, and especially as far as wine tasting. We can get some pretty hot days during the summer, but this time of year I think is really conducive to wine tasting. And then also we have a wide variety of nice restaurants in the Napa Valley. So enjoying some of the great restaurants that we have. All right. Any other questions? I'm going to test my potatoes again. I think I've talked long enough that they probably should be tender. Anybody? Yeah. How about you guys? Potatoes tender? Actually, I'll pull
Yes,
it
we
up.
took ours out already.
You took yours out. Okay. So you don't want them to, you want them to cook just long enough that you can stick. Time check 20 minutes. All right. Don't forget to smile. Okay. I'm not supposed to read that. All right. So go ahead and drain your potatoes. If you overcook them, they're going to collapse and then they're going to absorb more water. And we really don't, we want to be able to add as much butter and olive oil to this as we can. Or if you're making mashed potatoes, it would be cream, right? Or milk. So just cook them just long enough that the tip of the knife goes in easily. And you can let some of that steam escape. And I'll just put them back into my pan there. And I'll bring it closer to me. My butter was nice and soft when I came in here, but I am in a cellar, so it's a little bit firmer now. And then extra virgin olive oil. So something nice and fruity, flavorful. Ideally, it's extra virgin. Pure olive oil is fine for cooking, but in something like this, I think you're going to taste it. It's worth the extra money, I think, to invest in that. A little bit more salt. A little bit of freshly ground black pepper if you have it. And then everybody's potatoes are probably a little bit different. Depends how they were stored, what size you have. And so it's sort of you're going to taste it and you're going to decide, oh, it needs more olive oil, it needs more butter, because your potatoes might be drier than mine, and they might not require it. But all I'm going to do is crush them. And I'm trying to get that butter and olive oil incorporated and distributed, but I'm not trying to make mashed potatoes. Crushed. And this becomes something nice that the chicken and the veggies can sit on top of, and the flavors just sort of mingle together. I'll put a little bit of parsley in there. That. And if you want to be a good chef, you have to taste. I like olive oil, so I'm going to put a little bit more in mine. But I think my salt and my pepper is good. And it's probably about time for your chicken to come out, isn't it?
I was just gonna say you have 40 seconds left on the 30 minute
30 seconds. 30 seconds, guys. Finish up your potatoes. How are your potatoes? Did anybody taste them? Good. Matthews, how does your thumb taste?
He said good.
Good. I don't know where it's been, but all right. So my potatoes are done. Hopefully you guys are done with that as well.
Potatoes are done.
Potatoes done.
Keep them off to the side of the back of the stove, where someplace where they'll stay warm. And go ahead and take your chicken out. Now yours is going to be nice and hot, and mine is actually cold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chicken out of the pan while we finish. Okay. And then garlic cloves. See if you can take those out. Mine are hot. Yours are. I think I threw an extra. All right. And then I'm going to take this out. And take your vegetables and put them either in a pan, a bowl, someplace where you can keep them warm while you go to make your pan sauce. Now, I don't know if you can show me your pan or not, but I'm guessing that most of you have a little bit more caramelization on the bottom of your pan, because when I took mine out, everything sat and some of the juices came out, so it sort of deglazed itself. So I don't know if anybody can show me the pan that they have, but I bet you got nice brown, sort of a brown glaze on the bottom. Maybe HP, they do. That's good. That's going to contribute flavor, and that's the next thing we're going to do is deglaze that pan. So go ahead and put your pan back on the stove. So I can do this easily. You might not be able to. The garlic, you should be able to squeeze it out. And yours just came out of the oven, so you may have to wait a minute to do this. And if you're making this again, you can do one of two things. You can make this part of your sauce. You can also just leave it in with your veggies, and then you just nibble on roasted garlic and spread it on a baguette or something like that, because it's pretty yummy either way. Okay. And I'm just going to mash mine a little bit. Depends how soft your garlic is. With the tip of my knife, I can do this. So I'm waiting for this to get really nice and hot. All right. Now I'm going to deglaze this with my wine. And I would normally use a wooden spoon, but I've got a rubber spatula here. I want to loosen any of those brown bits that are clinging to the bottom so they become part of our sauce. And the garlic, I'm going to throw that in there. I think I did more than 6 cloves. So I'm going to hold off on some of that. And I'm going to add just a little bit of honey. So it's not so much that this is like really sweet, but there's sort of a nice balance between the lemon and the honey. You know, lemon and honey go well together. I'm not the first person to do that. But about a tablespoon of honey. Let that reduce down in with the wine. And we're going to reduce this till basically you cook all the wine down to what the French would say au sec, and the wine is all gone. So you're concentrating the acidity. We're getting rid of the alcohol. We're getting rid of any water, and that becomes sort of the backbone of our sauce. Okay, so let that reduce down. You should have your lemon close by, lemon juice, a little bit of butter, and parsley. This will all come together sort of quickly. You have it all close by, and a little bit more butter. Where did I put the butter? I put butter there. It's right in front of me. Good place to hide it. Bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. Almost done. Make sure that garlic sort of dissolves into the sauce. That gives it some body. So when my wife does a roast chicken, after the chicken comes out of the roasting pan and the veggies come out of the roasting pan, I'll do the same thing. I'll deglaze the bottom of that roasting pan and make a little pan sauce to go with it. So it's starting to sizzle even more. You can tell, you know, when the wine's almost cooked off because the sizzling sound, it sounds different. So you don't even have to look at it. You know that it's time. I'm going to add in, I think it says about a cup of chicken broth. And that goes in. Yeah, if I was doing a whole chicken, I would cut the chicken into parts, and then any juices that came off of the chicken, that also would go into the pan. So that's sort of like the chicken stock, right? All right. We'll let that start simmering before we add in our parsley, our lemon zest, a little bit of butter, and a squeeze of lemon juice just to bring everything up. So my sauce is actually paler than when I made it last time because I didn't have as much of a brown glaze on the bottom because it got released when my stuff just sort of sat there. But I'm guessing you guys might have more color in your sauce. How's everybody doing? Any questions? So you might be curious, like, okay, so how do I know when the sauce is done? And a lot of it is like I'm looking at the bubbles. No, and as it gets thicker, you know, you're cooking off water, and as the sauce, the pan sauce gets more intense in flavor, there's not as much liquid in it anymore, and so the bubbles will get a little bit bigger. That's sort of your cue that you know, it's time then to do the next step. Okay. We will add a little bit of butter. It helps emulsify everything. It also distributes the flavors a little bit more. A lot of times you'll finish a sauce. Sometimes it's with cream, sometimes just a little cream or just a little bit of butter. And that just sort of brings everything together and it gets emulsified in there. So. Plate. I'm getting closer to plating. I bet you guys are hungry because it's a little bit later on the East Coast. Questions? Brett, you have a good question for me?
I
You
do.
usually have.
I have a good question I've been thinking of. If we were not able to eat everything that we're preparing tonight, is there a good way to save and reheat, or not really the dish to do that?
Yeah, so you have, I don't know how hungry you are. You have 2 chicken thighs per person. By all means, you could, only serve half of this and have it the next day and just, warm it up in your microwave or in the oven, or just eat it later that night before you go to bed. So mine's starting to thicken up a little bit. So I'm going to add in my lemon zest. Might not need all of it. So that'll give it a nice flavor. A little bit of parsley.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why thighs? Could you use the legs or chicken breast, or would it be different?
So you could use breast. I put in a little bit of butter here. And when you do that, you want to make sure you sort of swirl it. So I guess I could ask everybody in the group, are you a dark meat or a white meat person? I am a dark meat person, so that's what I gravitate to. Somebody else can eat the breast when we have a roast chicken. Also, thighs are more forgiving in the oven, so they'll cook longer in the oven. Whereas if I'm doing chicken breasts, they don't take as long, so you won't have as much caramelization on the bottom of the pan for making a pan sauce. So in that regard, I think the thighs are better. But if you are a white meat person and you want to cook breasts next time, by all means, go ahead and do that.
You could use legs though too. Legs along with the thighs
Oh,
together.
you can do legs. Yeah, legs are you could buy thighs and legs together and cook them. I definitely like the drumsticks a lot. It's just easier, I think, to eat the thighs. Okay.
Oh, yep.
And then if you want, what I usually like to do is I just put the chicken back in for a moment and turn it over in the sauce. And I'm going to turn my sauce off because mine's nice and thick. It's sort of emulsified. Got everything in there. Get everything nice and coated. Smells wonderful. I hope yours smells as good as mine does. And then, so I'll plate it up.
Did you put butter
You guys can,
butter?
so actually I have lemon zest all over my plate. It's one way to garnish it. So potatoes, some veggies. If you want, just put one thigh for now on top. And then you should have enough sauce. Spoon that over the top.
Chef, that looks delicious.
Smells good too. So hopefully how are you guys doing? Are you guys ready to plate up and eat, or is that you're not quite doing that yet? I bet you Matthew's probably ready to eat.
He's ready to eat. We're not quite there yet. We need a little time.
Okay.
We need a little time too.
Yeah. So that's our finished dish. See if I go a little bit closer.
Looks so good.
Yeah, and the pan sauce, like I said, just the logistics of how we're doing this, and I'm not in the kitchen. I seared off the chicken and the veggies, and I took it out and I just let it sit off to the side. If I had not let it sit in the pan, I would have had more caramelization. My pan sauce would have even more color to it. Flavor wise, it's so wonderful. But when I made it earlier for just to test this out, it had a little bit more color to it. And HB, you guys said you were using a cast iron pan, so I bet you got really nice color on yours. Thinking
Much so, yes.
good.
We're just waiting for the sauce to get a little thicker.
Just reducing it down, yeah. And once you put that, like a tablespoon of butter in, it's not like it's a butter sauce, but that butter, when you put that in, you swirl it and that emulsifies in it and it thickens it a little bit more. So don't reduce it too much before you get to that point because it will thicken once you put that tablespoon of butter in. But you need to keep it moving so that it emulsifies into it and it's not just melted butter and your pan sauce.
Chef Brian, back to the question on the type of chicken. How do you feel about boneless, skinless thighs? Would those work for this, or you think it's losing flavor?
My doctor hasn't told me to eliminate chicken skin from my diet. I like to keep it on whether I eat it or not, or whether or not my guests want to eat it, because it does help insulate it and keep it from drying out. So I prefer to buy it with the skin on. If you've gotten in the habit of I always get rid of it. I get rid of the bones as well. Go that route, but cooking it on the bone is more flavorful. It's like I always tell people to compare a whole roast chicken versus boneless, skinless chicken breasts. The whole roast chicken, 9 times out of 10, is going to be more flavorful because it's actually roasting with the bones, which actually contribute flavor, and you are less likely to overcook it and be dry. I buy thighs with the bone in, and I do tend to buy almost always with the skin still on it and cook it with the skin on it, and then I can always discard it. I think it also helps with the caramelization that happens in the pan, contributing to the flavor that you get with the pan sauce. Okay. You guys getting close? Hopefully your house smells good. Yeah, I think a roast, I was trying to mimic some of the flavors of my wife's roast chicken. It's a very welcoming smell. When she's roasting a chicken, I just feel like, yeah, this feels homey. This feels like home.
Are finished and it smells and looks delicious. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it was wonderful. Thank you.
So I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. And I don't know if you're cooking for family or not, but I know it can be stressful. We do holiday cooking classes here at the winery. One of the things I always tell people is, one, have a good game plan. So things that you can do ahead, figuring out what things you can do ahead, not trying too many new recipes. There are certain things, building up that repertoire, that there's things that you make every year, and maybe trying 1 or 2 recipes, on your family, but not trying to reinvent the wheel and being too stressed to enjoy everybody's company. I think that's sort of key. So.
Chef, are you the main cook for Thanksgiving for your family?
I will be. I have 2 kids in college. They're happy to not be eating ramen and pasta, which is sort of what they exist on at school. But it's a small Thanksgiving for us this year, and we'll keep it somewhat simple. We're not traveling this year, but usually it falls on me. My wife does a lot of the cooking. As I told you, her roast chicken is one of my favorite dishes. So she's also a very good cook, and cooks for our family probably more often than I do.
That's lovely.
So. Stuff still going over at Tracy's house.
Go back to anything?
What's that?
How's everybody doing at home? Do we need
Yeah.
any
Any questions? You about ready to eat?
No, we had a hard time. Our chicken wasn't ready yet. So we had to wait for our chicken to be ready. So we
Okay.
were a little behind. We're finishing up on the sauce now.
Okay. I can see the steam
Bigger
coming
thighs.
off of the stove.
Yeah,
So
we had bigger thighs.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so also your oven, put your pan in a hot preheated oven. Middle of the oven is probably best. If you have a convection oven, cooks a little bit faster. You could actually turn it down 25 degrees, or it's probably just going to cook a little bit faster for you. And yeah, the size of your thighs too. If mine
Well,
were,
I have a convection oven. The only problem is I found out last night my son, who is 24, cracked the glass of it. So we were using like an oven roaster, like on the counter for tonight.
nice.
So yeah.
Oh, it was
So
nice
we
of him.
ordered new glass for Thanksgiving because I am doing Thanksgiving also. So
I hope you can still make the Thanksgiving spread.
we will.
Good. Good.
We're making do.
Your family's there to see you and spend time with you, right? Most importantly.
Well, we are all finished and our daughter has joined us for dinner. So we're going to go enjoy this wonderful dinner tonight. And we thank you very much. We had a wonderful
Enjoy.
time. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And by the way, this is Michael and Anita.
We're not HP.
We didn't have
Michael and
HP.
Anita. Okay. So it's nice to meet
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
very
you for
much.
spending time with us. Enjoy your dinner.
We
Thank you.
really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank
to
you.
go?
How about you, Allison? Is yours done?
We're good.
Are you ready to eat?
Yeah.
Your kitchen smells good?
Yeah, for once.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
you're welcome. Hope you enjoy it. And it's a good one, I think, to put in your repertoire. It doesn't take that long
Yeah.
to put this
This is actually
together.
pretty good, yeah.
And you could change the veggies too. Carrots and fennel were in our garden this time of year, so they just sort of made sense to use them now. But you can change it throughout the year. And even the pan sauce. That's sort of once you learn that, you could put different things in it. Capers would be good in there. Different herbs. If you had some cherry tomatoes during the summer, you could split them and throw them in. That would be really nice. Preserved lemon, olives. Open up the refrigerator door and something jumps out at you, screams at you to be used. That can probably go in you might be able to put in your pan sauce. Whole grain mustard, that would be nice in there too.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah. How about you, Alexander? Are you guys just about ready to eat? Dishing up?
We're just a hair behind, but we're coming in hot. It's looking good.
good.
It's looking amazing.
All right, good. Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chef
Kristen?
Ryan. Where in Vermont did you go to cooking school?
It was the school is in Montpelier. It closed. I think it closed like around COVID. It had nothing to do with COVID, but it was a small school, and it was a great school. It was hands-on. Classes were smaller. I went there almost out of high school, and I lived there for a couple years, and then I moved to California. So
Yeah, nice.
I have not been back to Vermont. I hope to at some point. I really enjoyed the state. It's a beautiful state, and yeah, it was a
So
good
did
place.
you know in high school that you wanted to go to cooking school?
I did. I'm a very odd person in that regard. This is all I've ever done. I got a job in a restaurant at the age of 14. My stepfather was a good cook. I used to hang out in the kitchen with him. And for some reason, I glommed onto it. Like I wanted to be a chef. And I luckily had a great experience working in a restaurant. The chef there was very patient and took time to teach me. And I enjoyed the environment. So my experience all through high school was positive, which made me want to continue doing it. Yeah, and then I landed here. I mean, I've spent almost my whole career at Cakebread Cellars. I've been here over 35 years. So it's not a bad place to come to work.
Yeah.
It's not a bad place to live either. So, but yeah, it's pretty much what I've done since I was a kid.
Thank you so much, Chef. This was such a wonderful experience, and I'll be making this for my family for Thanksgiving. So
Good, good. Well, thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you in Napa sometime. If you do, tell the visitor center that you cooked with us, and hopefully they'll give you an opportunity to come over to the kitchen and say hello.
I would love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
everyone. Have a great
Happy
night.
holidays.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you
Chef.
so much. This was great.
All right, Tracy, we'll see you at the
We're
winery
done.
sometime.
Yep.
Thanks for joining tonight.
All right,
Tough.
take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.